Cheers.
Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. I get inspiration from a lot of places. A lot of times it's from comments left by people like you watching the videos, or maybe I've seen somebody else build something super cool. This one just kind of happened by an Amazon suggestion. I perused through Amazon quite a bit, and I came across this t-shirt that said, "The problem with the world today is that we don't drink from the skulls of our enemies anymore." And I thought, that's a cool idea for a prop. Ben Eadie is still selling his scale mail for his Kickstarter. Definitely check the links below. Go see what he has to offer. I'm going to continue to use it while he is promoting his Kickstarter. And I'm also gonna grab from the
endless bottom toad of random junk that I've bought that I need to get rid of in a prop form or fashion.
So today we are going to make a koozie for your boozy, a drogger for your lager, a decapitated for your caffeinated. Let's get to building. A lot of people have been asking me lately how I come up with my builds. I draw inspiration from everywhere. Being a content creator, I'm constantly getting suggestions from awesome people like you, making connections with other creators, and constantly thumbing through social media, probably like a lot of you do too. So I got the idea for this from a shirt I saw on an Amazon advertisement. And what you don't see here is how I got to these items. I sat for maybe an hour or two piecing together random bits to try and figure out some basic shapes that I could make this mug out of. So the first step I do, other than spending an hour or two staring blankly at random stuff, is to remove stickers, sand surfaces, and take off unnecessary screws. The base of my mug will be made up of a dollar store flower pot and skull, with some horns from a ram skull I bought on a discount rack at Spirit Halloween the day after Halloween. I figure out the angle I want the skull tilted and then hold it behind the flower pot to get the slope traced on with a Sharpie. I trim pieces off slowly until it fits pretty close to perfect. The skull edge has very little surface area to grab a hold to the pot with, so I add a layer of hot glue on the inside of my line where it will rest. Then I add a heavy bead on the outside edge as well. I'll be securing it further with helmet parts and scale mail, so it just has to hold up long enough for me to put the add-ons. No real game plan here. I'm adding some cheek and forehead pieces to make the transitions between the different materials better. It's all kind of trial and error, shaping the pieces on the build and then mirroring it to the other side. The scale will cover up a world of mistakes and crimes and all those other things, so it doesn't have to be perfect here either. I cut out the little light from the bottom of the flower pot and add some foam to the top to help sculpt the shape a little better. This will be the hole where you stick your refreshment. Here's that awesome scale mail that Ben Eadie and Stephanie Chan are putting up there on Kickstarter. They've already far exceeded their original goals and have been including some stretch goals to entice you to continue to support what they want to accomplish. It comes pre-cut 6 rows on each sheet. You pull it out, poke out the holes, and then weave it together by pushing the round loops into each other. I think I took maybe 4 sheets to cover my skeleton helmet. To get the scale to lay down flat, you quickly hit the surface with a heat gun and add a little pressure on top while it cools down. This stuff is awesome. I've got some plans to use more of this stuff on my full Knights Templar Iron Man build that will most definitely be happening once I get the things that I have ordered in. I wanted a solid connection on the helmet with the horns since this will act as the handle for my cup. I poked some holes on the inside through the plastic and foam, then just screw them in. I attached 3 at the top of the horn and 1 at the bottom where the horn meets the helmet. To hold my beverage, I added a cylinder just a hair smaller than what the can actually is. I want it to be snug so that it will grab holds of the can and stay in place. I close up the tube, add a little extra layer along the seam line, and contact cement it to the top layer of foam I put in earlier. To close off the bottom and further secure the cylinder, I trace the outline of the bottom onto more 6mm EVA foam, cut it out, glue it on the bottom, and then sand everything flush with a rotary tool. Make sure to work in a well-ventilated area while using these glues. I always wear a respirator when doing glue ups and usually give it plenty of time to set up after I'm done. I hit the EVA with 2 coats of Plasti Dip and the plastic parts with black spray paint. I start off by hitting all the metal parts with a little silver rub and buff, then the rest of the paint job is done with Plat Effects acrylic paint. Most of the paint application is done in multiple layers using a dry brush approach, dragging little amounts of paint across the high points of the surfaces to give the paint job depth. Horns are done in the same way as the silver, except I build it up with different colors. I start with a dark brown and work my way to the tip with lighter and lighter colors. You're just trying to hit the high points, leaving that black in the ridges for good contrast. After I got done, I decided I wanted to add another color to the helmet, so I just brushed this metallic blue over the top of my silver coat. Taping off areas that you don't want the color on makes it so much easier and gives you a much cleaner edge in your end result. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty cool. It's a little lopsided. That was the first thing that my wife, of course, pointed out to me. She said, my OCD's kicking in. It's not even, which I realized that. My excuse was the horns aren't exactly symmetrical either, so it kind of put a little bit of it off, but I didn't really measure anything. I just straight up free-formed and went with the flow, which is sometimes fun to do. I didn't really pattern anything out, and I didn't worry about the structure underneath because I knew that it was going to get covered with the scale mail, so take that for what it's worth. Maybe you will try and make one of these awesome koozies yourself and impress your friends with your ability to drink from the skull of your enemies and strike fear into the hearts of future people who dare go against your judgments. I mean, it would for me. Maybe you'll get some...
Yay!
And inevitably, they're gonna ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them... much props. So we just take the old soda and we turn it so that my mouth can hit it. We crack it open and cheers. Let's go. Thanks again to my Patreon members. You guys are awesome, helping me to build this channel into something bigger and better. If you like what I do here and want to support me and grow this channel, think about joining these Patreon members here.